Edward Newgate debuted on the first Sugo-Fest in One Piece Treasure Cruise history on the 7th of April 2015. This new batch introduced the Whitebeard pirates into the game with characters such as Blamenco the Mallet, Flintlock Pistols Izo, Flower Sword Vista, Diamond Jozu, Marco the Phoenix, and the first Sugo-Fest exclusive character in One Piece Treasure Cruise being the world's strongest man, Edward Newgate Whitebeard. In this series, we'll be traveling back in time to experience some of the older Sugo-Fest exclusive characters in their prime, aiming to show just what it was like to use these characters on their debut. I hope you enjoy the video, and without further ado, let's enter the Legends of OPTC. So here we are with the introduction of the brand new series to the YouTube channel, Legends of OPTC, where we're going to go ahead and take a deep dive to the past of One Piece Treasure Cruise, go through previous batches and previous characters that have released in the game, and just kind of discuss them and use them in content, which is the whole aim of this video today. And of course, we're going to be starting off with the first legend to release in One Piece Treasure Cruise, which is none other than Whitebeard Edward Newgate. But before that, I want to take the time just to quickly discuss some of the other characters that debuted alongside him in this Sugo-Fest on April 7th, 2015. Can you believe it? It's so long ago, right? Anyways, here are the new characters which you guys may have seen in the introduction. So we have Blamenco the Mallet as our first character, who wasn't anything too great. Remember, back in the day, we didn't have these secondary classes, so characters only had one class at a time. So with Blamenco, his special ability would change dex and quick slots into strength slots, which I guess back in the day wouldn't have been too bad, considering quick slots were always really annoying to run on mono strength teams. Orb manipulation was definitely more predominant back in the day, with these really weird orb manipulation characters which Blamenco would fit into. He's also a striker character, so has great synergy with Whitebeard and also other characters that debut a little bit later on. Alongside that, we have the Flintlock Pistols Izo, who is very similar to Blamenco. This character was a dex shooter that had a special ability that was essentially the same thing but for dex teams, changing strength and quick slots into dex. So again, you know, if you're running a mono dex team, getting rid of those strength slots were pretty important. Then we move on to Vista, which is still a character that I use, I wouldn't say often, but it's a character that I definitely see usage every now and again, because this character, it was a slasher and he has 5,000 fixed damage to all enemies. Sometimes when you're on some of those clash events, you would come up against enemies that have high defense and very low HP values. So utilizing a special like this can wave clear an entire stage, making it much easier to clear. But back in the day, you would be trying to stall as much as you possibly can, because remember, sockets were not a thing. So having cooldown reduction was really important, and being able to stall as much as you possibly could was also very, very important, which is where Vista comes into it. Diamond Jozu also made his debut here as a quick fighter character initially, and his special ability was pretty strange, just reducing damage from dex enemies by 100% for one turn. This particular special ability wasn't really that useful in a lot of content and barely saw any play, but there was one particular clash event where this particular special was amazing for helping you clear that content, and we may be showing that in this video today. And then the final of the rare recruit characters was Marco. Marco was really nice. He had the captain ability giving you 3 times attack if you were at full health at the start of the turn for your Psy characters, so he was one of those captains that you would want to use for turtle times back in the day. Shout out to those that remember. His special ability, just recovering all missing HP, is a good special ability, but you know, when it goes down to a 20 turn cooldown, he was at 30 turns for the longest time, because getting skill books for these characters was very difficult. So for the longest time, Marco was at a 30 turn cooldown for that health recovery, which really wasn't that useful. You know, obviously in today's day and age, we have much more powerful specials at really low cooldowns, but still his main usefulness was coming from his 3 times captain effect. And then we have the first Sugo-Fest exclusive character to debut being Edward Newgate Whitebeard, who of course started off as only a striker character, obviously gained the additional class later on. His captain ability would boost your crew's attack by 3 times if you were below 30% at the start of the turn. So that's kind of a bad thing, right? Because if you're above 30%, you don't get any boost at all. So that was very, very harsh on this guy. A lot of people, when they pulled him, initially wanted to go ahead and use him for a lot of content, but people found very quickly that this was a very annoying character to use. You had to purposefully tank hits from the enemy to get below that HP threshold, and in order to do so, it meant that this character was a lot slower than, like, let's say Gear 3 at the time. Gear 3 Luffy at the time was still probably the best character in the game. And then he has a special ability which was on a 17 turn max cooldown, but a lot of people were at a 25 turn cooldown because once again the skill books were very difficult to get a hold of, but it just gave you a 30% health cut, which, you know, at the time was very broken because normal attacks only was not a thing until very way late down the line, right? But the thing about it is that you had a free-to-play character, Raid Mihawk, who came out, who essentially had the exact same special as this character, and Captain ability, which was honestly a little bit better than this guy as well. So this guy, unfortunately, on release, he was a little bit underpowered. I feel they definitely could have done something else to make him a bit stronger, but still a 3x captain back in 2015, you cannot disregard how good that was. Eventually, Whitebeard released with a super evolution, which definitely gave him a couple of decent upgrades, but didn't really, you know, shake up the meta for this character. He was still a very bad character overall, still giving you 3x attack if you're below 30%, but they gave you at least a minor attack boost if you were above that threshold, and also gave your characters a health boost. And his special ability was slightly altered, giving his special ability -1 cooldown to all your characters, and then also going ahead and randomizing all your non-matching slots, including block orbs, which I guess at the time wasn't really a game-breaking special ability either. They definitely should have either given him an attack boost or an ability to just outright give you matching slots would have also been pretty valuable, and the attack multiplier still being a 3x boost didn't really help him out either. The 30% threshold is still a huge issue with this character, unfortunately, but, you know, this is the first Sugo-Fest exclusive character in the game, so we got to go ahead and show him some respect. So let's go ahead and jump into what type of content we're going to be playing today. Alright, so we're going to be using this roulette wheel to decide what we're going to be using our double Whitebeard captain team to be taking on in this video today. So of course, we want to be going back in the history of this character's release, and I wanted to decide to use you know, a specific clash event, a specific raid boss is what we're going to be taking on in this video today. So starting here, Clash Mihawk, the first clash to arrive on One Piece Treasure Cruise. A pretty easy one for Whitebeard to take on, honestly, so I'm not really too worried about that one. Monster Chopper is slightly more difficult, but again, not one that I'm really too worried about with Whitebeard. Clash Garp also shouldn't be too much of an issue, but remember, with Whitebeard in general, getting to those low HP thresholds is going to be kind of difficult. Clash Zephyr, it's actually been a long time since I've played this clash, so I can't actually remember too much about this one, but still I'm kind of worried about it. I think Ivankov is the one I want to see the least. That is going to be annoying because obviously Whitebeard has straight up type disadvantage against Ivankov, so that could be a little bit difficult to get through. And Doflamingo I think would be the most fun to play with. That was the first 60 stamina clash that was in One Piece Treasure Cruise, and I know that Whitebeard was one of the characters that a lot of people wanted to use there. So let's go ahead and spin the wheel and see what clash event we get today. Let's spin it a couple times. Let's see what we get. What are we going to get? Alright, so Clash Mihawk is going to be pretty easy to take on, but I guess it would be fitting with having the first legend take on the first clash event in the game. Let's go ahead and see what we can build. Okay, so this is the team that I have come up with for today's video. So of course we are going to be using the 6+ version of Whitebeard because I don't really want to de-evolve him and then re-evolve him back. But you guys get the picture anyway. So this is going to be using some old school characters, some of which are not even like max socket or anything, which is good. I don't want them to be like completely juiced out with all the supports and everything. And you can see we're not using supports either. Some of the characters do have like, you know, some potential abilities active and some of them are max special. I know Whitebeard is for sure. Golden Pound Usopp, who's going to be very important and was one of the best characters back in the day for those of you who were not well in tune with the game back then or weren't playing back then. Golden Pound Usopp was so good. That low cooldown to just give you 3 turns of delay. As I said, getting your special cooldowns ready was quite difficult because number one, sockets weren't available, so you couldn't get special charge time, and also a lot of characters were never max skilled because getting those skill books was very difficult. So characters that could delay the enemy to allow you to stall were very valuable to have. We also have Alvida, who I'm not really too sure is going to be too useful or not, but having the 80% damage reduction could be useful if we make it to the Mihawk fight, and because we are going to be at low HP with Whitebeard, being able to just tank that hit could be quite valuable. Next we do have Blamenko, who was one of the characters that debuted alongside the Whitebeard character to change those dex and quick slots into strength slots. I'm not really too sure again if this character is going to be very useful, but there aren't really too many options back in the day when Whitebeard first came out. And then we've also got Gear 3 Luffy, which, as I kind of mentioned a little bit earlier, I do do believe was probably the best character in the game at that time. His captain ability was so good, but we're not talking about Gear 3 Luffy today. We're talking about Whitebeard, but we're using his special ability, which does a little bit of AoE damage, but not really too sure how useful this is going to be. But again, as I said, there's not really a lot to play with a lot of these characters back in the day. But of course, we are going to be using 6+ Whitebeard, so we do get a little bit of an attack boost if we're above that 30% threshold. But of course, we want to be tanking some damage to ensure that we get below 30% health, so that it will enable us to get that huge 3 times boost. Especially for 2015 standards, the 3 times boost was absolutely no joke. And then as for the ship that we're choosing for the team, we're going to be using the Moby Dick ship. Now, on the release of Whitebeard, the Moby Dick ship wasn't active yet, I don't believe. I think you could only use like the Merry-Go, for example. So we're going to be using it anyway and see how it kind of plays out. So one thing I am kind of worried about with the Mihawk fight in particular is like, yeah, we know it's the easiest raid in the game, right? The thing is, though, is that there is a preemptive attack on the Mihawk final boss stage that gives us 4,000 fixed damage. So we need to make sure that we, you know, have enough HP to tank that when we enter that stage. That's the only really worrying thing about it. But let's go ahead and use Whitebeard for the first time in so long as a captain into some content. Here we go. We're about to unlock Mihawk from the Recollection Archive, and here we go. Unlock for 20 points, and let's see how we perform today. So where actually is his little raid? It should be here somewhere. Here it is. Clash Dex. Here is Mihawk, 40 stamina, of course, and we're going to be using a guest captain. So the guest captain obviously has no limit break, no max special. Actually, is it max special? I don't think it is, right? Just to double check. Yeah, it's not. It's only 25 cooldown, right? Which is awesome. 25 cooldown is fine, right? Let's go ahead and jump into it with the team that we just talked about. Here we go. All right, here we go. We're about to use, bloody hell, I can't believe this, using Whitebeard for the first time in a very, very long time. Okay, so tanking some damage initially does seem like a good play. So what I might do is just use Golden Pound Usopp to just do a bit of damage there. The 1.75 times attack boost from that Whitebeard, surprisingly, is actually a lot. And that's a lot of damage that we took straight away. I didn't realize it was going to be that much. So let's go ahead and kill these guys, because we do not want to take that much damage. We need to find a way to stall for our specials. Otherwise, this could be quite damaging for us. Also, I wanted to try and make sure my auto healing was as low as possible, because back in the day, auto healing was not a big thing either. So it meant that Whitebeard was even more dangerous to play with, right? So at this point here, we just have to kill. We just don't want to take damage at all. Honestly speaking, I probably should have used the Merry-Go now that I've realized how much damage we were taking there. This should be a good opportunity to get some of our stall here. So we are below that HP threshold for Whitebeard, but we shouldn't be killing these guys unless if we have a matching slot. I think a matching slot will definitely kill those guys there. Remember that if we have a Dex or a quick slot, we can use Blamenko special a little bit later to change those into matching. This is not really looking good for us right now. We just need to get some type of health back. I'm going to go ahead and just attack these guys. Kill this turtle here. Boom, perfect. We should almost get the Golden Pound special back, which is going to be kind of good for us. Let's go ahead and kill this turtle here. Man, this is actually looking kind of grim, man. I kind of wish that I did go with the Merry-Go, because we don't have a lot of health. I didn't realize those guys at the start were going to do so much goddamn damage. Okay, we have this turtle right here. We don't want to take that damage, so let's go ahead and just move on to the next stage. Now, I do know the next stage, we actually get hit with a preemptive attack, so that's actually going to hurt. Actually, getting a recovery slot here would be very valuable. How much damage does he do? So we need to be above 4,000 before we move into the final boss stage, so keep that in the back of your mind. We kind of have to just kill this guy. Yeah, we kind of had to move on there. That was a little unfortunate, but this last stage here isn't going to be too difficult. We just actually, now that I'm thinking about it, we actually kind of have to use the Golden Pound Usopp special. I wish I could kind of save it for the Mihawk stage, because that way we would be able to use the Golden Pound Usopp special, which would delay Mihawk, and that gives us basically 3 turns to kill. But at this point here, like, we actually need health to survive. So I'm going to go ahead and use the Golden Pound Usopp special. I think that's kind of required for us at this point. And we just have to go ahead and move on. Like, let's just do this. Kill that guy. Kill this green guy. And hopefully we're able to get a little bit of health back. we do get a recovery slot, which is actually ridiculously useful. I think that actually saved us. Okay, so in hindsight, you would definitely want to go ahead and use the merry-go instead, but we're going to go ahead and do this and just move on straight away. We have, we could have stalled at least one more turn, but realistically speaking, I don't think it's that bad. So we're going to move on to the final boss stage against Mihawk, right, with Whitebeard as our captain. Unfortunately, our specials are not ready to go. Would have been super good to be able to launch that Whitebeard special. And there's that fixed damage coming in. It's not really fixed damage, it is 4,000 damage, so we have a little bit of damage reduction, but back in the day, that would have been 4,000 damage, as there's no real way to reduce the damage that you would have taken. So at this point here, we actually could use an Alvita special to tank the damage from the next Mihawk attack, which I think I'm actually going to do. So let's go ahead and launch the Alvita special. Look at that old school special animation though. 80% damage reduction. Let's go ahead and use the Gear 2 Luffy, Gear 3 Luffy special, I guess, for the little bit of damage towards him. How much damage is that? 40,000 damage, dude, bro. That's some crazy shenanigans back in the day. So we do have our 3 times captain, and again, we've got no attack or orb boosters. Attack and orb boosters, especially on the release of Whitebeard, were basically non-existent. There really weren't that many out there. So we're going to go ahead and just try and do as much damage as we can. So here we go. Let's do it. Oh no, going below 20%. No, we're dead. We are so dead. Oh, we only just lost. All right, we're going to run things back and we'll be back. I'm going to change up the team very slightly, and I think we'll have a lot of an easier time to get through this content. Okay, so this time around we should be good to go. So we're going to be using the merry-go instead of the Moby Dick ship. I think that's going to be a little bit more efficient for getting through this content, because we can actually tank more hits from the enemy, not having to worry about our health as much. So we start off with 25,000 health instead of the however much it was last time. So this should be a little bit better. We do get a recovery slot to start things off, which I like to see. So we're going to try and conserve that recovery slot and just until we need it. Because remember, you want to be below that HP threshold to make sure that Whitebeard is giving us that huge boost. You know, back in the day, the fact that Whitebeard would not have any attack boost above 30% would actually make these guys a little bit easier to stall on, but these guys actually do a lot of damage to us, so we're going to go ahead and just eat this recovery slot already. Kill 2 of these guys. Actually, you know what? We're going to kill all of them. These guys do way too much damage. We can take a lot more turns of stall off on this stage here with these turtles compared to, you know, stalling on those marine guys, on those pirate guys at the start. But, you know, back in the day, you know, Whitebeard was such an annoying character to use. Not a lot of people like that really low HP requirement for his captain effect. So a lot of people did opt to just go ahead and use Gear 3 Luffy instead, who I'm using as a crewmate for this team. Just the fact that you could hit 3 perfects and get your 3.5 times attack or whatever it was, like, that was way more valuable than just being below 30%. But you also have to think, right, is that Whitebeard has a 30% health cut, which is a lot better than whatever Gear 3 Luffy does. Like, what is it, 15 times his attack? Yeah, 15 times his attack. Like, back in the day, that was peanuts. Like, that didn't really matter at all, especially against one of those major boss fights. So that really didn't matter. So, you know, at this point here, you know, Whitebeard technically would be the better captain to use for more difficult content because of that 30% health cut. But, you know, for a little bit of the easier content, Whitebeard was just really annoying to use. Like, to farm content, he was really annoying to use. But, you know, either way, you know, a lot of people liked Whitebeard, a lot of people like Gear 3 Luffy, a lot more people like Gear 3 Luffy than the Whitebeard, though. But Whitebeard's still a really cool guy. It's just unfortunate that his 6+ wasn't, like, as powerful as I think, as what it kind of could have been, especially as we see now, 6+s are, I think some of the 6+s at least are really, really strong. Definitely some of them are a little bit more of a miss than a hit, but either way, it is what it is, right? We actually want to take a little bit more damage here. I wish we took one more hit from the pirates a little bit earlier on. So this is actually kind of bad because we want to actually tank more damage, but what we can do is we do have the special ability of Whitebeard pretty much ready to go at this point, so I'm just going to go ahead and kill. We don't really need to stall for any more specials. That 30% health cut should be more than enough anyway. So this guy's preemptive attack puts us at 9,800. This is actually really good though, because we can just kill this guy, and then the preemptive of Mihawk should put us below the threshold to get that below 30% threshold for the 3 times attack boost. So at this point, we don't even need to stall. We can use the Usopp on this guy, and all of these characters have a 4-hit HP, so we can just use all these characters to break through and move on to the final stage. So now we get to show off the power of Whitebeard. This is what I wanted to see here. So here's the boss stage. We're going to get hit with, what, 3,600 damage, so that definitely should put us below that HP threshold there. Perfect. Now let's go ahead and activate our special ability. So first of all, let's go ahead and activate Usopp first to delay him because he doesn't have any immunity buffs. So this is perfect here. And now we can go ahead and use the Whitebeard special ability. Now remember, back in the day, it was only a 30% health cut. But now with his super evolution, he's going to go ahead and shuffle our slots around that are not matching, as well as giving our characters -1 cooldown. Now, luckily for us, we actually did get a Dex and a Quick Orb, so we can use the Blamenko special, who also debuted alongside Whitebeard, to change those slots into matching, so that's really awesome. And, you know, just as a little bit of a fail-safe, we're going to have the Alvida special to give us the 80% damage reduction. And I guess why not? Let's go ahead and use the Gear 3 Luffy special just for that added punch of damage here. Now, remember, this doesn't have any orb boost or any attack boost, so let's see how much damage we're able to do here versus Mihawk. Here we go. Here we go. And there it is. Poggers! Poggy Woggy! There we go. Do you think that frightens me? I am Whitebeard. So there we go. Utilizing Whitebeard against the first raid boss in the game. Definitely not the most efficient. You know, back in the day, we didn't have a lot of characters to use that were really good, you know. Not a lot of boosters as we see in today's day and age. But still, you know, using an old school character like that, it's pretty fun. And it definitely makes me feel a little bit warm and fuzzy inside. That's for damn sure. So there we go, guys. That is going to conclude the first episode of the Legends of OPTC. And potentially later on down the line in other episodes, we may incorporate more pieces of content, so multiple raids, multiple coliseums or arenas, but we'll have to wait and see. But let me know down below in the comment section, what are your thoughts and opinions on this series? Do you guys like it? What do you guys want to see moving forward into the future? Of course, we're going to be taking it in order of every single Sugo-Fest exclusive character release. So the next episode should be Rayleigh, version 1 Rayleigh, so look forward to that one. But as I said, leave your feedback down below in the comment section about this brand new series on the channel. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and if you guys did enjoy it, make sure you go ahead and hit the like button. And if you want to stay up to date with all of the content that I post on my channel, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that, guys, I will see you guys within the next video.